Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jazzy from Mygeekreview. We have an exclusive for you. We have an interview with the CEO of Infinity Wars because you know what? There's no better person to ask your questions than the big man himself. So let's start this session right now of your questions here at Reddit Asks. And without further ado, I'm here to introduce you guys to the Infinity Wars CEO himself. Agent Coyle is going to be joining with me. How you doing today? Welcome to the United States.
Thank you, my friend.
So how's everything here in the U.S.? How's the trip?
It's been pretty fun, man. I'm actually at the end of the trip. I've done all these interviews, and it's been a pretty wild ride. Went over to the East Coast, hung out a bit, and now I'm keen to get back and see the girl. But happy to do a couple more interviews and bring it home.
Hard work all the time. So let's get into these questions right now. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what's the inspiration behind Infinity Wars when you started the company?
Right. So, I mean, like, just to give you a heads up for everyone else, so there's people who haven't actually seen Infinity Wars that might see this thing. So to just cover it right from the top, Infinity Wars is traditional trading card gaming, completely reimagined for the PC, Mac, Android, and iOS. And there's a bunch of features that come along with it. So every single card is fully animated. We've got like the brand new factions coming out from Star Trek. There's full open player-to-player trading. There's 3D animated battlefields, and there's whole modes that completely eliminate the whole concept of pay to win.
Right.
So that's pretty awesome. And one of the biggest things is that it's got simultaneous turns, which removes that whole waiting for the other player to take their turn business, and it allows for bluff and prediction gameplay to be taking place, which is a lot of fun and really suitable for doing the esports thing. So yeah.
Congratulations, by the way, for bringing Star Trek in. Some of the you mentioned earlier to me outside the camera that some of the core players took issues with having Star Trek. I was pretty excited having Star Trek there, but so tell me about having Star Trek with Infinity Wars now.
Yeah, so I mean, Star Trek is coming along to Infinity Wars, which is a massive announcement for us, and actually pre-orders have just gone live today, which means that players can jump in there and actually start supporting us. It's one of the first, as far as I'm aware, it's the first time any kind of crowdfunding has been actually implemented into a game, and so now within the game, players can get in there, order their cards, and then as people keep doing that, it unlocks bonuses for anyone who's pre-ordered. And of course, you get access to the exclusive Platinum borders as well. So now that that's come in, there's been a little bit of stuff that's come up because people didn't really understand the heart and the intention, and they thought it might have been just a thing that's being tacked on, or that we're getting paid by somebody to do it. Someone said,
yes,
it's like, no, it's quite the opposite, right? So it's basically we have this other universe coming into the game. The game's been built from the ground up to support from an art perspective and from a gameplay perspective and from a lore perspective to allow for these other universes to come in. But for now, it's being done as like a non-canon thing, like an add-on pack that's coming in. And so we're really taking care around all that. And the cards aren't legal for ranked play either. So they're just a bunch of awesome fun that can be had by coming in and bringing some of these really cool universes into Infinity Wars, into the Infinity Wars.
Right. You said universes. So I'm assuming you're not holding this just towards Star Trek. I mean, he meant, like, take it from me. When we were talking, he mentioned something about Doctor Who and having Master Yoda on board. What can you tell me about the other universes you might be working on?
I didn't say any... I may have said other universes I would love to see in there, but certainly any kind of universes that are possibly there are all completely under confidential discussion. But, I would love to see some really good sci-fi and fantasy universes make their way into the game. But it really just comes down to... Well, the biggest thing it comes down to is, can we get the support from our player base right now? So right now is the key pivotal time in Infinity War's growth, and any dollar or, particularly any voice that's been said, that's sort of like bringing out the word about our game to their friends and other, fans of other games, maybe other trading card games, those people are having an exponential effect on the business and on the game itself, and allowing us to bring out more players, more factions, more cards, more content and be able to expand the business to give them a better game.
So how does Infinity Ward and Lightmare Studio feel about having Hearthstone under Blizzard and there's Infinity Wars coming out? Because a lot of people are talking about how this is going to be like kind of a David and Goliath feel towards it. So what is Lightmare's take on this?
Yeah, we've heard that a bit. So basically, the way that I see it on behalf of the company is I'm personally, and most of the people in the company are actually massive fans of Blizzard, and I have a lot of respect for Blizzard and their business practices and the way that they create games and the kind of quality games that they create. So, you know, obviously that's the case, and they brought out a card game. You know, it's their game very clearly aims towards like the casual to sort of mid-core market, like an entry-level mid-core market, whereas we unashamedly go for the mid to hardcore market. So it's nowhere near as big a market, but it allows us to actually, you know, make a game that we want to play, and make a game that players who can get themselves around the rule set and the card dynamics will have a blast playing. So we welcome the new players that are coming on to the, you know, into the actual genre, and those that, you know, those that have been playing a bit and they're ready for a little bit more strategy and depth, they can come and check out Infinity Wars and play that too.
You don't have to take it from him, but I'm going to translate that as, if you're tired of wearing gloves and want to fight with real fists, why don't you hop over to Infinity Wars so we could show you who the real man is? I'm sorry I said that. But okay, going past that, all right, since we're talking about Hearthstone, honestly, we can't deny or ignore the fact that Hearthstone is starting to become a very popular esports game. What's Infinity War's direction towards esports?
Sure. Well, we've got esports on the horizon as our very next focus after we go to release. So we're basically just bringing together the polish and the bug fixing right now to really get a solid game that we can go gold with. Once we're able to do that, then we're going to put as many resources as we can towards making this the #1 digital trading card esport. Full stop. And the reason why I can say we can do that is not we don't have, you know, massive budgets of marketing, but when the players get in, they play it, and when the spectators come in and they spectate this game, there is a different feel you get out of playing this game. It feels more alive. It feels more like it's happening right now, because both players are taking their turns at the same time. Both players can do really crazy mind games and, like, you know, make a player think they're going to do something and then fake and come back, because the player's taking the turn at the same time and they don't know what the other person's doing, right? Whereas in traditional trading card games, you know, inclusive of games like Hearthstone, it's a turn by turn by turn thing. You know what the person's going to do, and a lot of the time, the plays you make in those games are very, very obvious. They're like the most obvious move, and therefore the best move that can be made. Right. Whereas in Infinity Wars, it's not so clear what the absolute best play is. The person has to figure it out based on how the other person's playing, react, respond to that, and then, you know, make their play. So we can see some really high risk, high reward plays that are made that end up having, you know, these amazing wow moments where everyone can jump out of the seats in excitement.
Competition is going to be very stiff for Infinity Wars coming soon. All right, so here's the part where we finally ask the community questions. So, as a disclaimer, I might butcher some of the names here, but I'm going to try my best to pronounce them. All right, guys? So, the first question for you
looks like
is
a big one.
from, yeah, it's actually from
Zabujka.
Yeah. Zabujka. And he or she asks, what Lightmare thinks about current strength of their last added faction, the Exiles. They always seem to be the least useful faction and were reworked. And since then, they were receiving major nerfs on their strongest cards, Ritual Master, Hungry Abomination, Cecil, etc. So, do Lightmare really doesn't see what they're doing weird job nerfing the weakest faction, or there is something we miss in evaluation of their power?
All right, so I'm not really the best person to answer that question, because we have a couple of guys whose jobs are to actually balance the game and to work on new cards and in this case rework the whole faction. So they reworked the faction so it would be more of a useful faction, and then in doing so it got a little too powerful, so that's why they had to go and nerf it again. We only nerf things currently if they're OP and someone's worked out a broken thing for it, or it's like ridiculously OP and we have to nerf it because we haven't got the time to just nerf for the sake of it. So I would trust that the team's done that for a reason, so maybe it's worth looking into some of the decks that can be created out there, some of the really powerful Exiles decks, and see how they play out. Maybe try a couple of those out first.
This also includes like the other universes you're talking about, right?
Yep.
All right. Cthulhu Girl asks, When can we expect a compilation of lore to be released, and how will it be maintained?
Right, so lore is something that I'm very passionate about actually seeing in the game, but unfortunately it's come down to resources, and it's been hard to find, the right sort of talent for the right price to actually get the lore spot on, right? So Ian and I created some of the initial lore first up, and then we're having some conversations now and seeing what's possible with actually getting some more lore focus in the game. We definitely have it front of mind, but it's got to come, unfortunately, after things like bug fixing and actually getting the game sweet, the experience of the game itself sweet.
And the core of the game is gameplay, right? Another question from her was, what's the general timeline or plan for canon and non-canon cards or sets?
So straight up, the canon cards, we're looking at every 3 months, bringing out a new cycle of cards, and we do not want to have the canon card cycle impacted by the new non-canon cards we're working on. So any non-canon cards, we're taking a bet financially and actually hiring more people to do some of that, and then basing the likelihood of doing more sets by how well it goes. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to if people can support us in actually getting these sets out, then we'll bring out more non-canon cards, but we're going to continue to keep our 3-month cycles for the canon cards as long as we have the cash to do it. So yeah.
So the last question from her was, what are the favorite cards of everyone working on Infinity Wars, even if it's just for the art or name? I'm willing to wait for a full response.
No, a full response. So I can only give you my part of the response right now because we're talking about me today. So if we were to put the Agent Coils aside, if we're talking about the Agent Coils, I would say there's an upcoming Agent Coil called Agent Coil Divine Demonic, and that would definitely be my favorite card if I was picking from that pool. But it's a bit unfair, so I'm going to pick from all the rest of the cards, and I would say Dark Wish is my favorite card.
There you go.
And I'm looking forward to putting some more wishes in the game. So
This is from Zombie Kitties. How much balance testing goes into the introduction of new cards?
Balance testing. So at first we did it with just the programmers. It's all we could have, and we've also got a nice team of awesome high school kids that are doing a traineeship program. They helped us out with that. Then we got a QA team. Really thankful for the guys in the community who came forward and became part of the QA team. And now we've just recently, as of this week, hired a couple of QA to actually start testing the game properly as their full-time gig. So they're on that, and they're doing as much QA as possible.
Werner Slug asks, will there be any easier ways to get specific cards implemented or planned?
Well, the only thing I could say for an easier way of doing it would be just having a full-time staff member, unless we're talking about custom cards being uploaded and stuff, which is in the medium-term future. But we're currently we haven't got plans for that, so that's the best way I can answer that question because it kind of confuses me a bit. So yeah.
Dire Miziel asks, when will we be able to see the profiles of other players in Infinity Wars?
I've been asking for it for a while, so I have to say, as soon as the guys have got time to be able to make it so you can click on that menu and check out somebody else's profile, then we'll be able to do that. But it's not that much work, so I'll make a special note for you guys on that one.
And there's an edit right here. You could choose to answer this or not, but is Infinity Wars the best online TCG ever?
Yes.
There you have it. Andre86 asks, are there any new informations on the auction house?
Yeah, look, auction house is something we've been playing with the implementation of. It is on the back burner, I'm going to say that. Just because we have to be very careful, especially at this late stage of the game, with implementing anything that's going to affect basically the whole economics of the game, the economy that's been built up. We want to make it easier to trade. We want to look at being able to have people give light mode points and stuff for trades. So there's stuff we want to do with it. It just may not end up as we first initially put it forward to be implemented in the game. But we are wanting to make it easier for people to trade, if that helps.
Yeah, I kind of want to add to this question. I want to ask, so this is a freemium game, but in terms of balancing, let's say I'm playing a person who spent thousands of dollars on his deck, and I'm just a guy who just wants to come in once in a while with a completely free deck.
Yep.
How are my chances of winning against this person?
Oh, look, it would be silly for me to say that they're not uneven if you're coming in, even if you've built a really powerful deck, and even though we don't increase the power of cards with rarity, we just increase their options. A person who has options still has a level of more power over other people. So the answer to that is two things. One, play riff runs, which are like similar to Hearthstone's arena matches, only you get to pick from like 4 cards, and you get to possibly buy the deck at the end as well if you want to buy the deck. Maybe even get it for free if you win enough matches to reduce the price. So that's one answer. And then the other is to do merge deck mode. So merge deck mode is all about getting your 50-cent deck and getting like his $3,000 deck, and then getting those two decks together and mashing them into a $3,050 deck, right? And then you play from the combined card pool.
It's you mentioned getting low cost on cards based on the matches we played. Is this discount per wins or discount per loses too?
Discount per wins, yeah.
All right. Yeah. You have to try to get that discount. They're just not going to give it to you. All right, this is a question from Captain Thai King Not 5. How close is the UI currently to what you are aiming for in release? I've heard multiplayer. What modes can we expect?
It's pretty. The AI is pretty much on target with what we're looking at towards release. There's a couple of little windows and stuff we're going to be tidying up, reworking the front screen a little bit, but it's getting pretty close to what we're looking for release. So I don't know if he's looking for something different. If he is, let me know what that is and we'll consider it.
So MTG 101 asks, Lightmare has been very open with their planned short-term roadmap for the game, which I think is great. Is this going to continue beyond the beta, and will it be extended to a longer-term roadmap detailing bigger long-term goals for the game?
It's a tricky one because we have crazy ass ideas, and you guys have experienced it if you've played the game, and they're pretty amazing ideas that take time to be implemented on a core foundational element of the game. So if we were to reveal too much about the long-term roadmap, and I've got 20 years worth of Infinity Wars mapped out, right? If we were to reveal too much of that, then other games could copy that and implement it way faster than we can do it on our shoestring budget, right? But we're going to be upfront with our short to medium-term long roadmap, and now that you guys know about the Star Trek release, there's obviously other potentials there as well with that. But it's always, and here's a key thing, we treat it as a games as a service, right? We had a massive shift in the company ethos about a year ago where we stopped trying to just ship a product and went, no, we've got something magical here, so we're going to hang on to this and actually really nurture it over the long term and keep adding to it over time. So for as long as we have players that are willing to help us fund the production of the game, we're going to keep making the game.
Support it. There you go. So here we go. Oknarb asks, you guys are planning on selling larger booster packs or boxes? Can we get more info about the card forging feature that is coming? Yeah,
so definitely I've been wanting to get more booster packs and boxes into the game. That's definitely on the cards, and actually in the almost immediate term future. I've got them really working on that now as an option. For the Star Trek set, we've got some big boxes worth of cards that you can get with a discount as well. So as far as the card forging feature, I can't really speak on that because it's another one of those features that we actually had produced a lot of, but then we have to have a bigger think about the impact on the economy again. So can't talk to you about that at the moment, but there is some exciting things coming that I'm sure you're going to love.
So I guess that's all the questions from Reddit. You've answered every single one of the community's questions we've selected. A lot of you have posted up on Reddit, and we thank you for that. And of course, those were pretty good questions. Thank you very much, Agent Coyle, for being here.
Thank you.
And of course, welcome to LA. You're more than welcome to stay here if you'd like to, but you have to go back to where you came from so you can work on that stress face right there. That's called hard work. So. Well, there you have it, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching another segment of Reddit Asks. If you guys want to check out the game, make sure to head over at Mygeekreview.com or head over to the Infinity Wars game website, because honestly, what are you waiting for? It's time to take off the training wheels and get out of Hearthstone and finally put the fisticuffs on, because the hardcore gamers of the esports world and digital trading card games are here to play. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Jazzy from Mygeekreview.com.
Peace.